The day is April 9th, 1865, and Confederate General Robert E. Lee has just surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant. The war is now over, everybody goes home, and nobody in America ever disagrees ever again. Too bad that wasn't actually the end of the war. Now you have to watch a 6-minute video to find out what was. Got him! Let's start off with some background. War Review! In case you weren't alive in 1865, millennials, am I right? I'll take this moment to catch you up on what happened during the American Civil War. I declare independence. Wait, no, declaring independence is my thing. Well, guess what? What? Now it's our thing. No. Part of the North's strategy during the war was to blockade the South with their larger navy to squeeze the Confederacy into economic ruin. The South responded by sort of maybe kind of legally getting ships from the British, which they then used to take all of the North's stuff in the ocean. The ship that did the best job at this was the CSS Alabama, but that was inconveniently sunk in June 1864, so the Confederacy needed a replacement. Luckily, the Confederacy's main man in Great Britain was able to buy a ship named the Sea King and arranged for it to be refitted into a commerce raider. The ship was then put under the command of James Waddell and renamed the CSS Shenandoah, which is actually a direct translation of Sea King into Southern. There was just one problem. The Shenandoah freaking sucked. It barely had enough crew to keep the ship running, let alone fight, and even when the cannons were loaded up from another ship, there weren't gun ports, so overall not a great combo. Even so, the Shenandoah set out into the ocean to wreck some scrubs and found limited success off the coast of South America, where Waddell was able to capture a few ships and recruit members of their crew to supplement his own. However, destroying ships and stealing their crews tends to get you noticed, so the Union sent out the USS Iroquois to hunt the Shenandoah down. To make matters worse, the Shenandoah's propeller was being stupid and repairs were desperately needed. Waddell was originally going to stop in Cape Town, but decided against it because he needed help with his propeller, not his cape. Waddell needed to go somewhere inconspicuous and far away from the Union. Like Australia! And since in the 1860s literally no one cared about what happened in Australia, Waddell figured it would make the perfect pit stop. Interestingly, it turned out Australia was big into supporting the Confederacy, and Waddell was able to recruit 45 additional crew members. Here's how it went down. Excuse me, does anyone want to join our crew and destroy merchant ships for a war which you have absolutely nothing to do with? Nothing's happening. What am I doing wrong? Here, let me try. Oi, mate! Kangaroo! Jolly Jumbuck! Hugh Jackman! Well, we gave it a shot.
Oi, mate! I love Hugh Jackman.
I just live here. The local American official in Melbourne was not particularly pleased with the prospect of a privateering propeller-powered pinnace profiting off his country's property, so he made a pretty big stink about the whole thing. Because of the buzzkill American guy, Waddell wasn't able to officially recruit any of his new crew members in Melbourne, so he thought up a brilliant plan. They left Melbourne and inducted the men at sea. Take that, government! Now equipped with guns that actually worked and an Aussie crew that bled Roll Tide, the Shenandoah set out into the Indian Ocean and had a terrible time. It's almost like merchant ships didn't want to get caught or something, I don't know. Waddell's bad luck continued after a 3-week-long voyage off the Russian coast. Yet another testament to Russian invincibility. After this period of inconvenience, the Shenandoah finally made it to the Bering Sea and found the area clogged with Union vessels from the New England whaling fleet. They then proceeded to do what any other person would do and destroyed 20 of them. There was just one problem. Burning whale blubber smells terrible, but also, this was all happening over 3 months after Lee had surrendered. Alright, put your hands up. Dude, the war is over. Lee surrendered. Do you got any proof, though? Lee surrendered on April 9th, 1860. Nope, it's all a liberal media conspiracy theory. The Shenandoah continued to wreak havoc in the Bering Sea until August 3rd, when a British ship informed them that the Confederate President Jefferson Davis had been captured almost 3 months ago, and the war was, in fact, over. Now, Waddell was in a bit of a pickle. He didn't want to surrender to the Americans, who would probably hang him and his crew as pirates, but who else could he surrender to? I'm back! Wait, you were just... how'd you... What? The Shenandoah had lowered its flag, disguised itself as a merchant ship, and sailed all the way to Britain to surrender. This makes them the only Confederate ship to circumnavigate the globe, and also the last official unit to fly the Confederate flag, which they raised and lowered on November 6, 1865 in order to get a pilot into London. During her remarkable career, the Shenandoah sailed 58,000 miles, captured or destroyed 38 ships, took over 1,000 prisoners, and didn't lose a single crew member in combat. 2 guys died of disease, but, you know, scurvy gonna scurvy. Waddell lived in England for a while and eventually returned to the US to command a mail delivery ship. A couple of crew members moved to Brazil and Argentina before it was cool, and the rest either moved back to America or scattered into the English countryside. As for the Shenandoah, it was sold to the Sultan of Zanzibar and destroyed in a hurricane. Yep.